you are, but we also, as you know, every year we have new people come and join us. So give a little brief background on who Shelley Johnson is, and just from your perspective. And I know you don't like to brag, but keep in some of the good details.
Okay. I live in Charlotte, North Carolina. I have a team in Charlotte with my business partner, Craig LePage. I've been in business for 18 years, which makes me sound like I'm 100, but I'm not. I started out just like everybody else, like one deal at a time, and grew and built my business over time. And we've built a team back in 2017 of about 42 million. This year we'll close out at 130 million, and we're rolling over with 130 million into 2022. And it's just been through leverage and learning and plugging in and building and learning how to work with people and be better. You know, it's funny, the more I do, the more volume we do, the easier it is, which is really weird, because I always have quantitated with people with crazy volume with a ton of work. So I've actually been more blessed with great people because of it. So that's amazing. And in 2017, we made that move to EXP and made that decision that we were going to start doing agent attraction, not even by design. It just kind of started to happen. And we've grown to over 3,100 agents across the country and around the world. So that's amazing, because we were just a 10 agent team 4 years ago. And now here we are.
3,100. Congratulations.
But it's all of you guys together with us, amazing leaders like Joe and Cody and Lacey and Denise and so many other great people that I've had the honor to get to know, Steve, and just great people all running together. And I'm always super impressed with the people that we get to run with, because I'm like, wow, it's an honor to be included in your world. It really is. It's amazing.
You know, I first of all, kudos to you. I love the story. You know, 18 years. You know, it doesn't make you 100, because I'm 27 years in, and
No
I'm
way.
quite 100. Yeah. I had a full head of hair when I started, so that'll tell you what this business will do to you. But you know, you touched on something that I think was real interesting, because those of us that have come to know you, you know, in your recent time, the last year or two, you know, we see the tremendous success, but yet you reflected back to early in your career, one transaction at a time. And I think for a lot of people, as they're building their business, they see the person on stage, in this case you, and go, holy cow, I mean, look at all 130 million their team did, and you know what that's all about. But yet there's no real shortcut to that. What would you say to somebody, because the beginning of the year, people are in one of two places. One, they're freaking out because they're like, how am I going to do this? You know, or two, they're super optimistic, like this is my year. And either one is okay. It's just where you're at. But yet, as we move forward from this week forward, we face reality, which is the challenges. And you've been doing this year in and year out, not just for yourself, but also for team members. What would be one piece of advice you'd give to somebody as they're going through this process?
It's like anything in life where, you know, I'm going to work out every day, and then you like don't work out for 4 days, and then you beat yourself up over it. It's all in your mind. I really think that if you can believe and see a path, and you have the roadmaps there for you, all you got to do is follow the steps, you know, and you have to believe that it works, that it's a workable path. And you're going to get hit by really bad, crappy stuff in life. I mean, like really, I mean, my life has not been a bed of roses. I mean, you know, we all have our Instagram and our Facebook life, right? But I mean, a year ago on New Year's Eve, my dad passed away, you know, like crazy. And, you know, like you're just going to have stuff that's just going to roll you over, and you can either choose to stay there, or you can figure out, you know what, it's okay to be not okay for a minute, you know, or for however long you need, but then you got to at least try a little bit over here to kind of pull yourself out of it, and find the resources like the Joes and the Codys and the people of the world that are going to champion what you, and myself. I mean, I'll be your champion too. Like I'll cheer you on. Find those people that are going to lift you up when you need that lifting, and find the people that like have the optimism that they know you can do it, because there's just going to be stuff that happens, financial, marriage, all kinds of stuff that's going to happen. And, you know, it's going to happen to every single one of us. And I wish it didn't have to be that way, but that's just not life. Right. So, and you're going to screw up and you're going to make a mistake and you're going to think you said the wrong thing. Well, the rule is, and I don't know who says this, I should know, but you can't say the wrong thing to the right person. Right. So if you did say the wrong thing and you like beat yourself up over for 5 minutes and move on, like, you know, like that listing you go on and you like go there and the guy's like rah, 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 and you know you're like trying to do your best and you're showing up like you're a student and you're going to be the best you can be, the best Shelley Johnson I can be. I'm gonna show them all the wonderful things I can do to sell their house, and the guy chooses Joe, not Joe, not you Joe, but another Joe, you know,
Yeah,
chooses
some
this
other.
other guy, right? This other guy. And then I'm like, oh man, I gave it my best. Well, I didn't want Grumpy Pants anyways. I didn't want Mr. Grumpy Pants. I'm gonna go find Happy, Miss Happy, or Mr. Happy, you know? So like it's a blessing sometimes when stuff doesn't go the way we want it to go. Sometimes we're like really bummed. We're like, man, I should have tried so hard and I gave it my every little bit. And guess what? It didn't work out. And then like 3 days later, a week or two later, like, that's why it wasn't supposed to work out. It wasn't supposed to be that way.
So there's two things that you said that really stood out to me. One of them was that you talked about the expectations of everything going to go smoothly and not going to face any hurdles. And I find that if people view life in general, let aside this business, but just life in general, that there aren't going to be challenges, they are definitely setting themselves up for disappointment. And I think what you talked about on the heels of that is sometimes when business doesn't work out, like this opportunity that you really, really wanted, you're better for it. And the universe knows whether or not you're putting in the work, right? I always say you can't cheat the hustle. You can't cheat the grind.
Yeah.
You might get lucky and get an opportunity here or there. But at the end of the day, when you're putting in the effort, when you're facing, you know, the mental challenges that are day-to-day ups and downs, and you're pushing through and you're persevering, you're going to get the rewards. It may not come in the time that we want, but it will come. And I think you just, the way you laid that out was absolutely perfect. And your example of coming into last year, New Year's Eve, your father passes. And I know how close you were to him because I remember the stories about the home buying and you know, moving him and everything else, you know, and yet here you are a year later having a phenomenal year, not only in business and production, but, you know, as a friend watching your life. You know, I'm seeing the travel and the adventures and the fun and then the difference that you're making in the world. So what do you grasp onto when things get tough like that? Like what's the go-to thing for you?
People. Really, I mean, people, because you can, if you, and it's all personal. Some people may like need to look at numbers harder, or someone may need to look at like if they get spreadsheets and they lay things out, they can see a pathway. But for me, it's aligning with people, partners that are optimistic that can help run with me. I run better with somebody than I do individually. Joe, I just wrote your name down for something I want to do with you while we were talking. People are everything. So like, you know, you don't have to, just because I may not call you, Joe, and say I'm having a really bad day, but you brought me up somehow. So I'm linking into you, you know, like you go where you feel good, right? You go where it feels like you can do it together. That's for me, that's how I like to do things. So love people.
Shelley, you just explained EXP.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, literally, right? Here you are in North Carolina, you know, bunch of us are out here in Vegas. We got people all over that are going to be on this. And yet here we are helping each other, coming together, help lift each other up and make a difference. I love that. I love that. So you're probably more plugged in than anybody I know as far as in the EXP world. What has you most excited going into 2022 in the world of EXP? And it can be on a macro, micro, or, you know, whatever level you want to share.
A lot of things. One is I know this is our year. Like I know this group's year, and that makes me super excited. This year is for you. We're going to grow. We're going to do really, really big things together. This year is different. We have someone joining our company at the end of this month that is going to be huge for EXP. It's going to be our president. And this guy is beloved by the people in the real estate industry. So you're going to love having this person lead us. And it's a growth leader. So that's a really important person to have in place. Dave Kennard was phenomenal.
He
I
was
really love that
great,
guy.
great
Phenomenal
human being.
leader. And
Yeah.
this guy is equally, that caliber quality guy. So I'm really excited about that. I'm excited about the fact that I'm in a position now personally where I've got the leverage I need to really support and help everybody the way I really want to. That's super exciting to me, because before I was trying to like teeter-totter different things, right? Now I can fully focus on what I want to focus on with you guys. I'm excited about the fact that every person on this call has an opportunity to make a change in their life and someone else's life. And I promise you, if you put a little bit of effort into this together, you're going to go there so much faster. And like, I love Steve. He's my buddy. And like when I get to meet people and know them on that level, like that's really powerful to me. Like I don't know how to describe that. It sounds corny, probably, I don't know, but I know that a little bit of effort can make the biggest difference. And it's like, if you take an hour away, not an hour, like how much time do we really waste in our life? That's, whether it's on social media or, I don't know, we can find doing a task in our business we shouldn't be doing. That has been probably my biggest nemesis. Like if you had to say, what's your Achilles heel? My Achilles heel has been doing things I shouldn't be doing, that I'm not good at, and doing them anyways, instead of hiring someone or investing financial money into that piece. I learned how to leverage a VA last year, and that was huge for me. I never thought I'm like, how do you work with a VA? I'm like, they're 12 hours difference. Well, what I realized, I'm like, they're working when I'm asleep, which is amazing because I can't work when I'm asleep. No matter which way I slice it, I can't work when I'm asleep. I mean, sometimes I dream about work, but I can't physically do it. So I'm like, once I thought like that, it made me laugh like you did. And I'm like, wow, I'm like, that's amazing. That's like, isn't that what every billionaire says, like to have that leverage? I mean, if you follow, it's so funny, all of these resources are available to us, but we don't pay attention to them the way we should. And if once you experience it for a few weeks, you're like, I get it. And then all of a sudden, like these little, like there's crevices all around us, these little cracks in the door where we can look through and go, oh, that's what that looks like. I don't know if I can do that. And we close it. So they're like, I don't know if that's for me. Like VA, that's not for me. That was me for like years with the VA. I was like, oh, maybe I do need to look at it. And then I hired one. I was like, oh, that's amazing. That person, because they only have to do a little task. They don't have to do, we think of they have to do the whole thing. We think about, and I'm off topic here, but
No, you're good. Keep
we
going.
think about they have to do the whole task. They have to be able to do our whole listing presentation. Or they have to be able to do our whole whatever it is. You teach them a little thing. What did you just do? That person works for $6 an hour and they feel like they're making $70,000 a year, by the way. Like you are not cheating them, you're giving them a gift. So these are educated people who speak better English than I do, who are super smart, who are looking for an opportunity, and we have it for them. So
Shelley, let me jump in on this thought process, because
okay.
here's what I'm hearing. I'm hearing that at $130 million in production, which by and large, everybody that's listening to this recording would be absolutely in awe to have. Yet the opportunity to still learn, grow, and become more efficient is at the forefront of what you're focusing on. And I think that's relatable from everybody, from people with small teams to individuals, because at the end of the day, it is about figuring out how to become more efficient and effective with the time that we have available. And that's what you're really talking about. Right?
Totally. I mean, even if your goal was never to grow your real estate business past where it is, so even if it's like a $3 million producer, 5 million, whatever it is, if you could get time back, that's, we all hear that when we're kids, that time is something we can never get back. It's the most valuable asset. And we don't really, isn't it funny? We hear that, but we don't really put value on that. We hear it all the time, but we don't really, or we think the investment of time to train someone isn't worth it, because what if it doesn't work out? What if that time's wasted? What if it does work out? What if it does to work out where that person helps you and you spend more
What-
time with Johnny
Yeah,
or on your
what a
business.
great question in general for trying anything new, right? I think the thing that does stop us from trying new things is that, well, what if it doesn't work out, right? That fear of, will I have wasted? I've learned one thing in my career, and that is I learn all the time, right? Sometimes I learn what I don't want to do again, right? I mean, it's still a learning. And yet the opportunity, like you're talking about, where you're resisting, and then all right, let me give it a go. And now you're like, oh my gosh, this was brilliant.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
You know how many VAs I interviewed before I hired the one of the ones I have?
How many?
One.
Nailed it.
And no, it was totally like, I'm gonna try this. It's probably, and I had all the negative talk in my head of how it's not gonna work. I really did. I was like, oh, this isn't gonna work. And then even when I hired her, I was like, well, we'll see how this goes. I'm
Well,
like, what do I have to lose?
Let's talk about what you talked about, because we had somebody already chime in on the chat. They're interviewing a VA today.
Nice.
So what are some of the things that you would recommend that they focus on, if that's something?
I asked them, like, okay, we have a big time difference here. Like, how are we going to communicate? How are we going to, because I have a hard time. I'm an ADHD person. Y'all probably don't know that. Maybe you do from this conversation, but how do you communicate 12 hours? Like by the time you're awake, I'm like already forgot what we even talked about 12 hours ago. Like that's like so yesterday to me, right? That's because that's how my mind is. And I'm really frank with them. I'm like, how are we going to do this? Like, I really want this to work. And you seem like you're really smart. And I didn't love her graphics, to be honest. I said, you're gonna have to go on Etsy and look at some graphics that realtors do in the US and learn how to do those, or go buy them. I don't care what you do. Like, I'm gonna go buy the graphics and you recreate them and make them look the way I need them to look. And then what I would do is she'd do them in Canva, and then she'd send me the Canva link and I'd look at it. And when I woke up, I'd be all these graphics sitting there, and I would screenshot them and I'd circle, this is bad. Don't write that. That's like totally gonna get me in jail. Like seriously, because you can't just like let them run free, right? And then once you have that done, then it's like graphics is like, how does someone in the Philippines relate to Charlotte, North Carolina with a lake? They don't even know they don't even have seasons there. They don't even know what fall, winter. They can't even relate to what that could feel like, right? They probably have never been anywhere where there were seasons. So you just have to kind of communicate it to them.
Yeah, I was going to say you're doing a lot of extra communication in the beginning to set that foundation.
Right. But then once they learn it and they know that and I'm like, I want it to feel inclusive. I want people to feel like there's nobody excluded from who I serve. And I want them to feel, they understand feelings, right? They understand how it feels to be a part of something. So you said those other things are kind of taught. I'm like, okay. And so I just told her the seasons. I'm like, okay, because just because someone's in the Philippines, someone in Florida still doesn't know what it's like in North Carolina. Like, we don't really get winter until January. Well, my graphic designer, in Florida could be going, well, it's winter, let's put snow everywhere. I'm like, it's not snow yet. We're not quite there yet. So you just lay it out for them. That's all.
I love it.
Whatever it is. And then you give them resources, because I didn't want to have to be the one thinking of everything. That was part of my hang up with the VA.
Okay.
Yeah.
So attention to details and then good communication. I love that.
Yeah. And all they got to do is send it to you, screenshot it, circle it, change this word. This would be more appropriate in February or whatever,
So I'm gonna change the conversation just for a moment here. Okay. You, with 3,100 people in your organization, in your EXP organization, you obviously do something well in terms of how to attract agents. What would you say you focus on, or what's your come from as you approach people? Like, what kind of advice? What could I walk away with and be better at doing that in 2022?
Their pain, like figure out where people are in their life through pain points. And sometimes it's funny, people don't self-evaluate a lot. Maybe they do, but they don't really realize they're doing it. So like when you're having a conversation with somebody and you say, I'm going to talk to Joe. I'm like, hey, Joe, how's your business going? I'm like, oh my gosh, it's amazing. I'm like, you had a killer year this year. I'm so impressed with what you did with your year. I've always admired you as a person. What's going on? Like, what are you doing? What's your goals this year? How are you going to get there? And eventually they may tell you that, I'm doing this, or you're going to pick up a struggle somewhere, right? So like, let's say that leverage, most people will not identify this as a pain point, but they won't identify it. That's my experience. But I'm like, you know how whenever your parents were teaching you how to ride a bike and you had your training wheels on, and they knew that if you could just like lift if you could just like get a little momentum, that you could lift take those extra wheels off, it's kind of like that. Like, you can look at someone else's business once you've gotten to a certain point in your business, and you can go, if they could just take that piece out, or if they could just do this, like, you can see it crystal clear. It's like being the armchair quarterback, but that person is so blinded by what it really is, because they haven't gotten there yet, and they don't have the belief that you have for them, because they're not there yet. It's breaking through that
So
weird,
you're taking the time to get to understand them as a person, right?
right?
You started with getting to know them, and obviously being complimentary about, who they are. But you're also listening through the filter of, where's the rub? Where's the challenge that they're having? And then how do you help somebody move past that? I get you can see it, but how do you have that kind of conversation to where they look at saying, you know what, I want to be a part of this?
You have to be really careful, because you don't want to be like the parent. Like, I'm a mom kind of person. I'll be like, oh, you should do this, you should do that. But you have to be really careful, because they are an adult and they do have a great business, and you do respect where they are. But you could say, I found when I was in that position a couple of things that helped me. Would you like to hear what they are? Or like, you can maybe give them some resourceful. Or I have a friend who also was at that position in their business and they've broken through. I'd love to connect you guys. You will love this person. Connecting someone to someone else is always better than being the solution yourself.
So bring in a third party.
Always bring in a third party, because if you're the solution yourself, one, they see us as like, okay, now Shelley is going to be the only person I can talk to when I've got a problem, because they think we're virtual. So they don't really realize there's this community we have together where we can be resourceful together. So as soon as you bring in the community and other people, they go, oh, well, Shelley has that way, but Joe has this way, and Cody has this way, and Arlen's got this way. Like, you start to see the different, and maybe they don't really connect with me on some level. Like, maybe they are high C and they really love having a spreadsheet, because they're one of my favorite people, because a spreadsheet person can give you the facts like that. And then I can like make a decision really quickly because of that person.
You are singing Cody Lewis's song right now.
But you know what I'm saying? Like this is, Cody might go, I love her energy, but she has no facts. So,
well, here's what I find most interesting. The beginning of the conversation, we started off with this thing about, how do you keep yourself going? And your answer was people. Mm-hmm. And now we're talking about how you help somebody else grow and become better, whether it be from recruiting them or within the organization. And the answer comes back with people. Connect them to people. And I think at the end of the day, what I'm hearing from you and what my experience is around EXP in general is that community spirit, is that people. Here you are across the country from us, taking time out to connect and help uplift us. And it is about people. So for somebody that's kind of getting plugged into that, how do they go about approaching that? And how do they connect themselves better?
So I know you guys have an incredible organization. You guys have built a great, Synergy's got a great reputation and name and everything, but plug into the organization, plug into what Joe and Cody lead you to, because if they see value in it, it's probably something they feel is going to help you. I am thrilled to help any of you with anything you need anytime. So you're always welcome to reach out to me, but just remember to try not to go it alone. Because in our industry, we are lone wolves. Like, we are individually okay, we are going to, we got to go on this listing appointment. It's all on our shoulders. Well, guess what? Finally, there's something that's not all on your shoulders. It doesn't have to be all on your shoulders. So don't try to go it alone when you have people that will help you. If I have someone that really needs the detail of how things can look for me, financially, some people are going to be motivated by the financial reward of it, right? some people are going to be demotivated by that. Like they might like the idea of it, but if they go, oh, well, she's doing this and she's so like far advanced, but some people need like that's the lifestyle they could have. Some people need different things. So just pay attention to who you're talking to and ask questions. My husband always says he's a really good question asker, and he asks really good questions. And if you ask questions, that person's going to give you what their needs are.
Brilliant. That's the same thing with working with our real estate clients too, right? You
Correct.
spend that time asking questions, connecting. I love it. Well, Shelley, we're wrapping up on the top of the call here. So before we exit, I want to turn it over to anything that you came onto the call that maybe I didn't get to ask you that you'd like to share. And if not, that's okay too.
I just would ask everybody on this call to really consider, I know you all want to sell more houses. I mean, that's super important. That's how we pay our bills. But also consider your future, consider where you want your life to look like for your families. And take the time to write down 10 names of 10 people. It doesn't matter. Don't judge it. Just write them down. And then keep that list near you and reach out to that person in a way that's not EXPing on them. Just reach out to them and say, hey, it's the new year. I'm super excited. I've got some great goals. I want to know what your goals are. And tell me what you're planning for this year. I respect your business. I love what you do. And I love how you conduct yourself. And I have so much respect for you. What do you got planned? What's happening with your family? Like, what are your family goals? Like, just keep asking them questions and take the opportunity to get to know them. And then eventually, you can start to build the other conversations around it. But
this 10 people would be 10 people in our industry that you're building a better relationship with, not just jump all over them and start to recruit right away. It's really build a relationship, because at the end of the day, agents are changing companies left and right all the time.
That's right.
What a great opportunity for them to get introduced to the EXP way after they have trust in you. Versus, as you said, don't call and just kind of verbal vomit all over them as to why they should come over. I love it. That's great.
Share with them about your synergy group. We have a group. We have accountability. We have our calls where we help each other and build each other's business. Like, leverage the group, because everyone knows what EXP is, right? But now you have this group that's building and supporting and helping each other. And so I would leverage that for sure.
I love it.
One real quick thing too.
Yep.
Is my brain, I just lost it, that ADHD thing. Oh, darn it. Well, here's the thing. Make sure that you really, I know what it was. We said this is going to be your biggest opportunity this year. This year is a huge, huge year for you guys. Remember that. Like, when things are going sideways, pull yourself back into the group. The fastest way for me to get myself out of a funk is a plug-in. If you're feeling funky, go do something. Don't stay back. If you're feeling great, share your greatness, because that's going to help other people when they're feeling funky. So it's that whole, like, just be a group together, stay plugged in, build. And don't ever be afraid don't be afraid of anything, because you can do anything you put your mind to. And this year is a great year to do that. And I really, really believe that. This year is 2022, and my dad's number is 222 to me.
Oh, wow. That got me right here. Oh my God, that's awesome. Well, I'll tell you what, Shelley, that is a phenomenal way to wrap up this call. You are an absolute blessing in the world. I know we all appreciate you. I look forward to hopefully doing one of our crazy vacations together somewhere.
Yes.
We both seem to like a lot of the same outdoor adventure activities, and maybe we'll be scubaing or somewhere in the mountains. Who knows? So,
or all of it.
All of the above. I like it. That sounds good. Well, for everybody that's been tuned in this morning, thank you so much for joining us, and we look forward to joining you on our next Power 30 in 2 weeks. Shelley Johnson, you're fabulous.
Bye, guys. Have an awesome week. Kill it.
All right. Bye.
Thanks, Shelley. Appreciate it.
Great job, Shelley. No, so nice to see you.
Great to see you too, Steve. Are you going to be in Cabo?
I am going to